What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about the Winnipeg Jets and their inability to score. This whole team is snake bitten, and when you're not scoring goals, you're losing games, as the Jets have now lost 5 games in a row, longest losing streak of the year for them, and they're definitely in their slump right now. And, the 5-game losing streak is definitely making the fan base freak out a little bit. I don't think it's, super warranted. I get why the panic has kind of set in, considering the last few years that the Winnipeg Jets have had. But the 5-game losing streak really has not been that bad. The Bruins game was very close right up until the end. The score makes it look a little bit more lopsided than it really was. The Toronto game, the first one anyway, definitely should have been a Jets win, but they could not capitalize on their opportunities, and they lost that game 1-0 in overtime. That was a really tough loss. The second game against the Leafs, really weird game. They lose 4-2, whatever, fine. Going into the All-Star break at that point, their first game back was against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they lost 3-0. 2 of those goals coming on the PK, as the Penguins had a 5-minute power play, as Brendan Dillon obviously got suspended for 3 games from that hit from Nola Chari. They win that game 3-0. The Jets, again, not able to bury any other chances and get shut out for the second time in 3 games at that point. And then against the Philadelphia Flyers, got shut out for most of that game. Kyle Connor scored right at the end to avoid a shutout, but still, 1 goal is not enough. The Jets need to find scoring. The perplexing thing with this team is their offense is seemingly dried up as soon as everybody is healthy. The Jets have had their fair share of injuries this year. Gabe Vilardi went down in Game 3 of the season, was out 6 weeks. Pretty much right after he was back, Kyle Connor went down for, I believe it was 5 weeks. And then Kyle Connor came back, and then Mark Scheifele went down, right? So it's been a revolving door of guys being hurt, and a lot of their top options, by the way, some of their top scorers going down. But they were still able to find ways to win. Obviously, their defense has been great this season, one of the best defensive teams in the league, but they were still able to find ways to score. Now, with an entirely healthy lineup for the first time since Game 3 of the NHL season, the Jets just cannot figure out how to put the puck in the back of the net. With everybody healthy now in the lineup, the Jets have a new top line, and that consists of Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, and Gabe Vilardi. Now, that line together, you'd think in theory would be very good, and it just really hasn't been through 2 games. They don't seem to have chemistry. They played those lines at the beginning of the year, or that line at the beginning of the year, and it just was not that great through the first couple of games. I didn't see the chemistry. I don't see it now. I know it's a very small sample size, but why wouldn't you go back to the line that worked? Why don't you just change Kyle Connor and Nikolai Ehlers? When Nick Ehlers was on that top line with Mark Scheifele, who I think he has incredible chemistry with, by the way. Him and Scheifele are dynamite. He was on top of the league. He was one of the best players in the NHL, and I'm not just saying that. You can go look at it here. He was a monster when he was given the shot on that top line, and then they took him off when Kyle Connor came back. And I don't hate the line. I don't hate the idea of trying to get stuff going with Connor, Scheifele, Vilardi. I don't hate that idea. I'm all for it, to be totally honest. See what you got there and see if you've got the chemistry. But it's pretty evident early on here that those guys just don't have it like that line did back with Ehlers on the top line. Connor is just not right on that line. I don't know what it was with Ehlers, Scheifele, and Vilardi, but that line could not be stopped. That's when Gabe Vilardi was going on a tear. Mark Scheifele looked like a number 1 elite center again, and Nick Ehlers looked like the best player on this Jets team. So I don't think it's rocket science on how you can fix this lineup. Rick Bowness was quoted saying that he wasn't, necessarily going to shy away from putting that line back together. He wants to see what he has in that top line right now with Connor, Scheifele, and Vilardi, and that's totally fair. He's the coach. He can do what he wants. I think this is a good time to experiment. However, if you're trying to win hockey games and get some pucks in the back of the net, put 27 up on the top line. You already know what to do. And the Jets go out and they say, okay, you know what? We need to add a number 2 centerman. Let's add Sean Monahan. I don't hate Sean Monahan by any means. I've already made a video on it. I don't hate the trade, but I was a little bit disappointed by how much it cost. I know the center market is very expensive right now, as it's very thin, not a lot of guys out there, so teams are selling high on their centers. But man, I don't know if Sean Monahan is as much of an impact as the Jets were kind of hoping to get out of a number 2 centerman. At the time of recording this, he's only played 2 games for the Jets. Obviously, he needs to find chemistry with his new line mates. He's currently playing with Nikolai Ehlers and Cole Perfetti, but I just haven't seen much impact at all from him so far. Maybe he just needs to find chemistry with a guy like Kyle Connor. If they were to switch Ehlers and Connor, I do wonder how, Monahan and Connor would play. We'll see, right? I don't know. We'll see how everything unfolds here. Give him a few more games to really get comfortable. But so far, I've been... I don't want to say underwhelmed, because this is about what I expected from a Sean Monahan. I don't think he's a big impact player. I think he's a good centerman, but I think he's on the lower end of a number 2 centerman. I think he's more of a middle 6 guy on a contending team. So we'll have to see, what value Monahan brings going forward. I just haven't been super impressed through 2 games. He does his best work on the power play. It's a place that the Jets have really struggled this season, and really, I don't know. What has he done on the power play? Really nothing. I don't know. I don't think the Jets' power play is necessarily the players' fault or anything like that. I don't think the Jets don't have the players to have a successful power play. When you have Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, Gabe Vilardi, and Nikolai Ehlers with Josh Morrissey, I don't think they're the problem. I think the problem is the guy behind the bench running the exact same thing without fail, without any adjustments. What is going on here, man? Both parts of the special teams suck, but the power play is by far the worst. It is so slow. It is so wonky. I don't understand it. That first unit is loaded up like usual. It's usually got the big guys out there. The second unit, it's got Nikolai Ehlers with Cole Perfetti. That should be enough right there to get something going. But then it gets a little funny, because you've got Niederreiter usually net front, which is fine. Then you got Pionk and Schmidt. Pionk, you think in your head, oh, that's an offensive defenseman. He has not done shit this year offensively. He has been a burden almost offensively this season. Nate Schmidt, what the fuck does he do? He doesn't do shit out there. I'm sorry, but Nate Schmidt is bad. He doesn't do anything offensively. He sure as hell doesn't do anything defensively. I don't know why he's on the power play. I don't know why Ville Heinola is not in the lineup right now. He is healthy. Get Schmidt's ass on the bench for a bit. Give Ville a run. See what you have with him. And let it ride. He won that spot in preseason. Rick Bowness said that. Sit Nate Schmidt's bald ass down. I'm done with Nate Schmidt, man. Get him out of here. The power play has continuously failed this team and has continuously been the reason they are not winning hockey games. Every single game, the Jets have their chances, 5-on-5. Sometimes they score, sometimes they don't. But when you go on the power play 4 to 5 times a game and you don't score once, of course you're gonna lose. You're just wasting time out there, and it's embarrassing. How can you not figure this out? Brad Lauer, I don't know how you still have a job. I wonder if you're, on the ropes here. Maybe they're thinking about firing you, but I really doubt it, considering the background of True North Sports, just how the Jets conduct themselves. I don't think he's going to get fired, even if they don't score a power play goal for the rest of the season. I just don't think he's going to get fired, and I don't understand it. He needs to go. We need a different system. It's too slow, too predictable, and too lazy. Like, what are we doing here? Now, if you want my thoughts on how to fix the power play, besides, getting rid of the coach, move Scheifele into that bumper role. Put Monahan's, I don't know, Monahan's fine in the bumper from what I've seen him do in Montreal and everything like that, but Mark Scheifele can shoot the puck, and sometimes I feel like we just forget about that. Scheifele can shoot the puck, and I feel like that's something that we just forget. Yeah, he's a playmaking centerman, fine, but don't forget, man, this is a guy that scored 40 plus goals last season. He can bury the puck. So why are we wasting him on the half wall with him just kind of, I'll pass it back to Morrissey, or I'll get it down to Vilardi. He very rarely is throwing pucks at the net. Scheifele never ever shoots the puck anymore, and that needs to change. Why aren't we scoring goals? Because Mark Scheifele hasn't been shooting as of late. And, when he was shooting at the beginning of the season, we were having success. So it is frustrating to see guys just kind of wasted out there on the power play, and it's a big reason. Again, Winnipeg hasn't been scoring goals. They have not been utilizing their best players. At the end of the day, I think you can fix it by firing Brad Lauer, firing the special teams coaches, and, moving forward. Because you have a team that can legitimately contend this season. This is a really weird year in the NHL where it really feels like it's anybody's game at this point. So why would you waste it with, a bad power play? If the power play is going to sink you this season, you have this great team that plays great 5-on-5, and you're going to waste it because of your power play coach? Like, come on, man. Let's be real here, right? So I think step one, get rid of Brad Lauer. I think that would be fantastic. And then go find an impact forward. Like, I know the Jets need a defenseman, and I would say pretty badly, especially if there's an injury. However, I would kill for a guy like Anthony Mantha right now to play in my middle six. He can play you on a line with Niederreiter or Lowry. That alone right there is terrifying because that's just such a big-ass line. Lowry 6'5", Mantha 6'5". I believe Niederreiter is around like the 6'2", 6'3" mark. That's scary as is, being a checking line, but Mantha can score. 15 goals this season with the Capitals. He's on pace for, I believe it's a career year in goals for him, or very close anyway. He's had a great year. The Jets could bring in a guy like that. I think it would definitely benefit them. A shooter on power play too would be massive. Cole Perfetti could be setting Mantha up for one-timers all day long. Maybe you get, Nate Schmidt's ass off the power play. I think it would just be such a perfect fit. So if, the Jets were able to make a move for a guy like Mantha, it doesn't even have to be Mantha, but like that kind of impact player that can score goals, maybe playing on your third line, I think that'd be huge. But even with the Jets' inability to score on the power play, even with the team just overall being snake-bitten, and even with all the panic in the organization, I really, truly feel that the Jets are okay. They're in a good spot. They're only 3 points behind first in the Central, we have to remember, and they have 3 games on the Colorado Avalanche in hand. So I'll take a breath. It'll be okay. Jets are going through a slump right now, just like every single team in the NHL has done this season. Look at Edmonton at the beginning of the year. They were absolutely horrible in a way, way, way worse spot than the Jets were. And now look at them, right? They went on that big, crazy winning streak, almost hit the NHL record for wins in a row, right? So let's just pump the brakes on the panicking a little bit. I totally get it if you're, kind of starting to think we're starting to look like the Jets of old. I get it. It is scary. But let's keep the faith, guys. This is the best team that I've seen in a little while with this Jets team. And I think that, they could be a move or two away from being very scary. And once these guys start to find their chemistry with their new lines, I think that the Jets could be a problem again in the NHL. But with that said, guys, I am going to leave it there. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about the Jets currently, where they stand. Are they, just in a slump, or are they total frauds and they're going to fall out of a playoff spot and, relocate the team? I want to hear from you guys, right? So definitely leave that down below. Leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And that's all I got today, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Go Jets, go! Bye-bye.